Well, hello, my friends. Hope you are all doing great. Please let me know if you can see me okay, if you can hear me okay. I see a comment from Claude. What is that blue thing? I'm not sure what blue thing you are referring to. See, there's people in here, but I do not see any other messages, so please message in the chat so I know we're okay to start. This is very strange. All right, there we go. I had to click one weird thing. I see Jim Ross in the chat. Jim, thank you so much for coming out. I'm glad that you got my message that I am starting a little bit earlier than I initially posted. I apologize, switching things around, but I had something come up that I couldn't change, so had to schedule this a little bit earlier than planned. But luckily, I think things should be okay because just as I was walking over here, it started raining and I was like, dang it. Of all the times for it to start raining, this is not it. Berlin to Canada, thank you for coming out. Bob from Florida, hello. Henry from London, UK. Oh, lovely. Slice of Sabby says, I have 400 employees in Canada, planning to move the corporation to Bulgaria or Dubai. Thanks for the videos. My pleasure, and good luck with the move. That's a pretty hefty move to move that big of a corporation. Claude from rainy Montreal, also rainy there. Shannon from New York, thank you so much for coming out. I'm coming to Belgrade on Saturday. I can't wait. Amazing. I hope you will love it because honestly, guys, I have loved my time here. I have spent about a week in this city and 100% I know I would love to come back, and there are just so many other places in Serbia that I would also like to see. So far too short of a visit for this time, but definitely a place that I would recommend. Oh, and we have somebody from Belgrade. Stories from Australia is here in Belgrade. Amazing. Fabulous. So for anybody, who hasn't really been to this part of the world, Belgrade is obviously in Serbia, which is a part of the Balkans. It is a landlocked country, but there are some beautiful lakes here. There is gorgeous nature, and as you'll see in one of my videos, the second longest river in Europe, the Danube River, I think that's how you pronounce it, Danube River, goes through Serbia. So while I was here, I went up to basically the border of Romania and took kind of like a boat trip down the Danube when it's like one side is Romania, the other side is Serbia. It was actually a really cool experience, so I'll have a video about that. But definitely, like, Belgrade is a great sort of place to base yourself because most of the main day trips, unless you want to go to other places and spend a significant amount of time, you can easily do everything from Belgrade. So I would definitely recommend coming here for at least a week or two. And the population of Belgrade, I believe, is 1.8 million from what a local told me, but online it says 1.5. I know it's always hard to know exactly how many people live in a place, but yeah, it's not a huge city, but it's big enough. It definitely does feel bigger than Sofia, in Bulgaria where I live. But there are similarities. There's definitely similarities between Bulgaria and Serbia, I will say. Hello from Nova Scotia. Hello there, Rick. We got Isaac from Ethiopia. Amazing. Shannon asks, what's your favorite restaurant so far? I need recommendations. Oh gosh. Message me on Instagram and I'll send you some Google locations because off the top of my head, I can't remember all of the names. But basically, if you stay close to like Knez Mihailova, the main pedestrian walking street, which I'll take you down in this live. There's definitely so many good places around there. So yeah, so much good food here. Sony says, you made a huge mistake going to Bulgaria. Belgrade is 1,000 times better. I mean, I do really like it. I know I could absolutely, you know, enjoy living here. And similar to Bulgaria, what's great about Belgrade and about Serbia in general is that the English level here is quite high. Like, really, it is quite impressive that literally everywhere I have went, like, people just seem to know really good English here, and if they don't, if they're older usually, they know Russian. So it has been, you know, very easy for me in a way to get around here and figure out what's going on. So of course I could live here. I think it's a beautiful city in its own right. The taxes are a little bit higher than I would like. I think it'd be like 20 to 30% with Social Security in my case, but I'm not quite aware of what, you know, what kind of avenues they have that somebody could immigrate here. I actually heard that there's like a lot of Russians and Belarusians that have moved here and have had a really difficult time with immigration. So, you know, I don't know what exactly their situation is here, but it's also not in the EU. And personally, you know, I kind of like being in the EU, so I still stand by my choice of Bulgaria, but I will absolutely visit, and I can visit because Belgrade is just like a 6-hour bus ride from Sofia, so it's not that far. Jim, you're right. It seems a little weird to hear you say in Sofia where I live. I know it is. It's weird because like I don't know what else to say, right? It's like my dad's basically like he's a nomad in Canada. He's living in his trailer right now as he's, you know, farming. I don't have my childhood home anymore. My mom got rid of her place, so I literally don't have anywhere in Canada, like, you know, a physical home that I can go back to. So I guess Sofia is my home, you know. It's a weird kind of thing now. Big Ben says, let the old disputes between Bulgaria and Serbia be recreated in this chat now. Yeah, oh my god, I'm like so careful of touching on any historical points in my videos or content because I'm just like, I don't know, is this gonna piss off like one of the countries? Because like the Balkans definitely have, you know, unfortunately a history of getting very heated of who came up with what, you know, which land is whose and what came from what. So obviously I'm an outsider in this whole thing. I'm still learning the history of everything that's happened here. So yeah, I'm not gonna get too political or too historical in today's live stream. All right, guys, so let's get started, and I'll answer questions as we go. But I will show you where I am right now, which is this super cool cobblestone historical Bohemian district. I'm gonna say it wrong probably. Skadarlija? I think you pronounce the J here. I'm still like, you know, learning how you pronounce some of the extra letters here in Serbia, but this is the Bohemian district where it's just like this cute little old town area. It has cobblestone streets, restaurants, cute little cafes. So I thought we would start here and head to downtown. I'm gonna flip the camera here. Very lovely. Look at all the vines on the restaurants. Okay, Skadarlija. Skadarlija, that's my best attempt. Can anybody in the comments tell me if that's correct? Am I saying that correctly? Skadarlija. I hope I am. It's interesting. One unique thing about Serbia that I've learned so far is they use both alphabets. They use both the Cyrillic alphabet, as you can see, and then you'll see, you know, the English letters, which, you know, Latin script used as well. And I guess like both are official. So that's really different. I don't know how many other countries do that as well, like maybe not Cyrillic, but some other writing form and English. But yeah, it's kind of a unique system that they have going on here. And speaking of the language, it's interesting because I would say there's definitely similarities. You know, there's definitely similarities to Russian that I can kind of pick up on. And, you know, once again, when I'm speaking in Russian, even if they don't fully know it, they'll be able to pick up a little bit. So there's definitely similarities, but it is quite different. I think from what I've heard, Serbia, Montenegro, and Croatia, or is it Bosnia Herzegovina? I don't know. There's 3 languages, you know, of the surrounding countries that I guess are very, very close. Like, of course, there is still differences between the 3 languages, but they're very, very similar. So those people traveling here would be able to communicate far easier. Look at that cute little car. I love it. Oh, I'm so happy the sun is coming out. I was so worried it was just gonna like pour rain as soon as I started, but it's coming out super lovely. Hello to Nomadic Entrepreneur. Hello from Warsaw, Poland, where I am in the moment. Lovely. You know, I've strangely never been to Warsaw, even though I was in Poland a long time ago, almost 15 years ago, crazy to say. But I was in Krakow and the Zakopane kind of mountain area. I didn't get to go to Warsaw, so we'll see how things go this year. But one thing I haven't really talked about, you know, as seriously of like when it's going to happen, if I'm for sure going to do it, but most likely, unless things are really bad, obviously, I am planning to go to Ukraine to visit my family, probably sometime in mid-October. And so obviously if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to choose which country I'm going to enter through, because obviously, you know, there's no flights going to Ukraine. So I think my options are Poland, Moldova, Romania, and Hungary, I believe. So yeah, I'm gonna have to choose one of those countries. Do you guys have a preference? I'm obviously not going to explore the country extensively, but you know, just a short visit probably in the capital that has a train that goes direct to Kiev is probably what I would do. So let me know in the chat if there's one you guys would recommend I see over the other. Rennie says the Nikola Tesla Museum is there and is home of the GOAT tennis player Novak I can't say his last name. How do I say it? Djokovic. I don't know much about tennis, but I have heard of him. Yes, he is very famous here, and he has a restaurant here from what I heard, which is interesting. But yes, Nikola Tesla had many of his formidable years here as well. Claude says Kaya is from there. Yeah, exactly. She will be giving me lots of tips of what to see and do in Poland. Diana says Moldova has a wine festival in October. Oh my God, that would be nice. Vesco says probably Poland would be the safest choice. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see, guys, what my options are. I'll keep you updated on, yeah, what I do, but that probably will be sometime mid-October would be my guess. But let me flip the camera here, give you a little view of this lovely statue of a man. And we're gonna keep heading on up. I really love the architecture here. Oh, Krasimir, that actually really helps you spelling out his name in Cyrillic. Novak Djokovic. Why can I read it so much easier in Cyrillic than I could English? That's interesting. Djokovic. Djokovic. Interesting. Videri. Hello from Amsterdam. Hello. Another great city. Oh my gosh, look at the cute hearts on the chairs. This is actually a super cute restaurant. Why is nobody there? Sad. But yeah, overall my experience of Belgrade so far has been very positive. Especially even just like when I arrived, people were so helpful. And oh my gosh, I'll touch on this more extensively in my video, but fun fact about Belgrade that I haven't seen anywhere else before and was so surprised by when I arrived here is their public transit is free for everybody. Not just like, I don't know, you show a national ID and you can get on for free. No, literally for everybody, tourists included. All of their public transit, which sure doesn't include like the metro, they don't have a metro, but any buses and trams, which honestly come regularly, have been great, easy to get around the city. Everything is free. I have never seen anything like that before, even though I know there are a few other cities in the world that have that. In Europe specifically, I know like Luxembourg City does, but it's very small. Like it's very small in comparison to Belgrade. So pretty wild that yeah, they have that here, and it just recently started on January 1st of this year. So yeah, if you come here, you can ride wherever you want in the city for free. Super cool. All right, say goodbye to the Bohemian district, guys. There is another kind of like cute street down there of it, but this is basically the end of it, and we are going to head up this way to Republic Square, the main sort of city square. That's very nice. Sugar-free vegan cakes. Somehow that does not sound good. No offense. If it also said gluten-free, oh my god, I don't think that could be good. But then again, I'm sad for the people that kind of have to eat like that because of their health condition. They don't have a choice. So for their sake, I hope it is good. But for me personally, I hope I never get any kind of like serious food allergy or restriction, least of all gluten. That would be the frickin' end of me. If I had to stop eating bread, like real bread, oh my god, that would just be tragic. But, you know, I've had a few friends from Canada who have said that they feel, you know, bad when they eat any kind of gluten when they're in North America, but then they vacation in Europe and they find they don't have the same reaction. So, you know, it's no surprise that they're probably not putting the best stuff in our food in North America to make it have a very long shelf life, especially since most people get their groceries from the big box grocery stores, not the smaller kind of markets that most European cities have. So yeah, if you think you're gluten intolerant, maybe try coming to Europe and just double checking. Or maybe it's like what you have at home, not the actual gluten. Let me flip the camera here. We're gonna walk up this way. across here. Well, that's very strange to hear, Ben. I mean, I'm happy to hear that in your comment you said the picture quality of the live stream is great this time. It's usually 720, but today it's 1080p. Very clear picture. Well, I wonder why that is, because I thought it was always YouTube who's throttling it, because like there's nothing I can change on my end about that. And I don't think like Serbia has faster internet than, let's say, Bulgaria. Like my, you know, internet in Sofia is fantastic, like on my phone, but it still throttles it. So I wonder why it's different today. Like, does it actually show in the settings that it's 1080, or does it just like look clearer? I'm curious to know, because I can't really get those numbers on my end when I'm live streaming, sadly. Oh, well, I'm very happy to hear that, guys. Usually I know people are complaining about the quality of the live stream, and I apologize. I'm still trying to see if there's a third party I can use to make it better, but that's fantastic that today, for whatever reason, it shows 1080. Maybe YouTube finally got their shit together. Wouldn't that be nice? And they actually like allowed you to stream at that definition, because I know like Twitch lets you automatically. You don't have to have a third party to get that quality through Twitch, but from my understanding with YouTube, you'll always have to use a third party if you want to stream in high definition. But maybe they're finally changing that. That would be nice. Paul asks, what looks cold there? What is the temperature? It's only cold today. It was so hot the other days I was here, like 30, 35 every single day. But just this morning it rained quite a bit and was overcast. So right now it's about 20, 22 degrees. Actually quite nice, honestly, a nice break after the heat waves that we've had. But yeah, when I get back to Sofia, I think it's going to be around those temperatures again, which, you know, 30 is okay for me, but 35 is kind of pushing it. Like 35 is a bit intense. Huh. Hello to Taras in Canada in Lloydminster, Saskatchewan. That's amazing. I'm not sure if I've ever had anybody from Lloydminster on the live stream. That's awesome. And we have somebody from Montreal. Fabulous. I love how many Canadians are here. All right, guys, so we are here in Republic Square. Isn't it gorgeous? And very big and grand. Really unique architecture all around. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Costa's World of Music Memories, Harriet, Jim, and Yuki. Hello, Alina. Hope you are doing well. Belgrade looks lovely. Are you enjoying the food? Yes, I am. It is very, very good. But, you know, I don't know if I'm going to get hate for this, so I mean, I'm just going to give my opinion. It's very similar. Montenegro, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Macedonia, you know, all the food, it's quite similar. Like, I wouldn't say, I don't know, that there's that many things that were like, oh, this is just so different or something like that. Like, the Balkans have very similar cuisine, you know, a lot of meat, some wet vegetables. They all have the same damn salad, as I've said in my videos. Like, the Bulgarian shopska salad is very similar to like the Serbian salad that they have here, which is technically quite similar to the Greek salad, you know, so it's very similar, as is the case in many regions of the world. It's like, you know, Ukrainian and Russian food, extremely similar. Like, I wouldn't say that there's really that many dishes. There are some dishes that are more popular in just like Ukraine, and some are more popular in Russia and stuff, but like they share a lot of the same food, as does, you know, Serbia, Montenegro, Bulgaria, even though Bulgaria is, you know, a little bit farther from Montenegro, let's say. But yeah, very similar, very good. And yeah. Right behind me, this beautiful building that you see is the National Museum, or the Belgrade Museum. I haven't actually been able to go in there because the day that I had free to go, it was closed. And now, for whatever reason, maybe the door's still thankfully open, but there's some kind of gates that they've put up here that wasn't here before, so I don't know if they're just doing some construction or what. But Kai asks in Russian, Alina, a kuda после Belgrada? Asking where after Belgrade. Домой, домой. I'm going home. I have loved, obviously, the travels, not just the past couple of weeks. I've been traveling, you know, a week here in Serbia, a week in Montenegro, but literally 2 days before that I was in Bonsko for 2 weeks. Literally before that I was in Japan for 2 weeks. 2 weeks before that I was in China. Like, I love my life, I love my job, but like the past 3 months have been crazy, guys. So I'm really happy to be going back home to Sofia, and I am gonna sit there and twiddle my thumbs and do some work for a month until inspiration strikes of where I should do a little short trip before I go to Ireland in September, and there I'll be for almost 3 weeks. So I need to kind of catch my breath after the last 3 very, very busy weeks. I'm gonna flip the camera here and give you a view. And one thing that I want to point out that might be very obvious in this picture, other than obviously the surrounding countries, which probably come to Serbia, you know, for vacation because it's close, and okay, maybe Russians. Who do you think is the largest other, like, demographic? Actually, we got a pretty varied group over there, but it's the Chinese. There are so many Chinese tour groups here. I am absolutely shocked. Like yesterday when I was at the Museum of Yugoslavia, just like 3 huge buses of Chinese tourists. It was just fascinating. I don't know if it's always been a quite popular destination for them, or if it's more of a recent thing, because in a way I would think, like, from, you know, Beijing, Shanghai, any of the main cities where you can catch flights to, you know, Europe in general, it's like, it's still a ways. So for them to come all the way out here, and, you know, Belgrade's obviously not like a major European city, that is interesting. I find that very interesting. So if anybody can, you know, explain that of why Chinese tourists are coming here to Serbia, I would really appreciate that, because I was very, very surprised. Just reading your comments here. Thank you so much, Jim Ross. Thank you so much. Antonio says Asian Russia like Khabarovsk. Yeah, well, that I actually understand. When I was in like Vladivostok, there were so many tourists, you know, from Japan, because it's just across the water, and there was also a lot of Chinese tourists kind of going to Eastern Russia, and that makes sense because it's so close. They probably have cheap flights, but you know, Serbia is a ways away, or like it's just not a big enough center, I would think, to like have direct flights. They probably have to go somewhere else first and then fly here. So I would think it's a bit inconvenient, and yet they are here. And there are so many Chinese companies here. Like, that's the other thing. So as I've been riding the bus, you know, all around the city, and I'm looking at the skyline at all the different, you know, business buildings that they have here, there is Hisense, you know, the 2 appliance brands that I got to tour when I was in China this year. But then there is also Huawei, and it was Shandong something or something, Shandong Energy or something like that. So yeah, like so many Chinese businesses moving in here. So, you know, they're smart. they're smart. They're moving in, you know, the right way, you could say. So surprisingly, a very large Chinese influence here. Stan says that the Chinese built a bridge in Serbia. Is that so? Is that part of their Belt and Road Initiative, right? Because they've been doing that like all over the world, you know? So that would be interesting if they've built quite a bit of infrastructure here too. Huh. Yes, and Ben is correct. The Chinese are not a surprising presence there. It is related to the orientation of Serbia's foreign policy over the last 10 years towards China and Russia at the expense of the European Union. Yes, there is obviously like that portion where, you know, obviously there is, you know, a very strong majority in the government here that is pro-Russia, and, you know, some of the older people especially, I think, are, you know, just from olden times more pro-Russia. But from the younger people that I've talked to, you know, obviously many of them feel differently, but politically, absolutely, they are more aligned with Russia. KPP team asks, were you able to convince your father to visit you in Sofia? We're working on it, actually. I'm pretty sure he will be coming at some point. We just haven't decided exactly when. But yeah, he is probably gonna come visit maybe for Christmas time, I think would be nice. I was kind of trying to convince him to, you know, do a few different European countries, but he says, no, I just want to like see where you live and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know how many like travels we're gonna do, but I'll definitely feature him in some videos when he comes to visit me in Sofia. I'm also probably gonna have my mom come down before I go to Ireland. Have her come stay at my place while I'm away also, you know, gives her a break from Ukraine, and maybe take her somewhere before the summer's over. So I'll probably feature both my parents in my videos coming up. All right, guys. Let's keep moving on here. The beautiful Knez Mihailova street is right there, and we will get on it, but I do want to show you guys a super beautiful historic hotel that they have here, where I went to get some delicious cake just a few days ago, and it was visited by some very famous people back in the day. So let's head there first, and then we will get on the main pedestrian street. Tatiana asks, how is your mom doing? She's doing overall good. Thank you for asking. It has been hard, obviously. Like the last month has been absolutely like horrible for everybody in Ukraine, and like, you know, and Kiev specifically, like they have had so many freaking bombings, you know, so many nights over. Like it has just been hell for them. So, you know, luckily my mom was away in Moldova up until a couple of weeks ago. I guess she's been back. But yeah, it's just been absolutely horrible and stressful, and just, you know, what else is there to say? But, you know, outside of that, she is really happy to be with family and see her friends that are living there. And, you know, the weather at least has been really, really good, and she's been finding things to keep herself busy. So overall, I think she's really enjoying her retirement. I know she definitely doesn't, you know, wish she had made a different choice by staying in Canada and continuing to, you know, work. She's very happy that she left and is living her best life. So that part is thankfully good. Get on the tail end of the pedestrian street to go over here. Kind of a unique sculpture in the middle of the street. Thank you very much, Sandy. That's very kind of you. I am as well. Actually, this is news. Reading your comments, Sandy, it triggered something that I wanted to talk about, and I'll give more information as things develop, but this was announced just a few weeks ago, and it's so exciting because you wrote citizens of Ukraine. It jogged my memory that just a few weeks ago it was announced that almost for sure Ukraine is allowing dual citizenship. If you don't understand why I'm excited, it's because for, you know, my whole life, it's basically been that you could technically have two citizenships. Like technically I do. Technically I never renounced my Ukrainian citizenship, meaning that I could go right now to a passport office in Ukraine, show my birth certificate, show my old Ukrainian passport, and I could probably get, you know, a Ukrainian passport easily enough. But legally, when they didn't allow dual citizenship, it kind of puts it in this gray area where when you're in Ukraine, you're only treated as a Ukrainian citizen, which right now would obviously be terrible if you were a man, because you couldn't get out of the country, right? If you're from 18 to 65. As a woman, you know, it's not as serious, but still, like, it's kind of this gray area that some people have had two passports, but, you know, legally it's not really recognized. So just a few weeks ago, it was announced that almost for certain the bill to allow dual citizenship in Ukraine is going to pass. Zelensky basically just has to sign it, and why wouldn't he? Because he's literally the one who came up with the bill, I guess, last year. So it's almost for certain that it's going to pass, meaning that I'm gonna have two passports finally, which is great. Not that, you know, having a Ukrainian passport, I don't think it gets me access to any countries other, you know, like outside of what I could already get with Canada. Like, that's not obviously the reason that I'm getting it. I get it because it's a great thing to have if, you know, I actually ever wanted to move back to Ukraine and actually wanted to live there and not have to go through, you know, the bureaucracy that a regular foreigner would, of having to get residency, having to do this, having to do that. Like, boom, I have a citizenship. They, I don't think, can kick me out of the country unless I don't know, did treason or something like that. And, you know, who knows? Obviously, the ideal situation would be if Ukraine ever got into the EU, I would have an EU passport. So that would be great. Obviously, probably not going to happen anytime soon, but, you know, who knows down the road. So that is just such a relief, because that is something that I have wanted for a really long time and that they've been talking about for the longest time, but, you know, nothing really came through. But yeah, now it's almost for certain that probably before the end of the year, I think it should be passed into law. So that is, you know, some good news for both me and my mom. Like, my mom already does have a Ukrainian passport, so, you know, even nowadays you can get it and it's fine, but it will be nice that it will be, like, legally recognized now in the coming months. Thank you so much for everybody's support. I really appreciate it. And I agree, Rick, you were born there, right? You should have one. I think so too. Like, obviously getting a Canadian passport was a huge gift that I am forever grateful for, but I'd also like to have the passport of the place like I was born. Like, hello. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera here and we can keep going on to Hotel Moskva, which has been here from the early 1900s, if I remember correctly. It is a very beautiful hotel. Really, really lovely on the inside as well. I definitely recommend, yeah, going for like lunch or a drink. They have a really nice patio. They usually have somebody like playing the piano. And the reason that I really wanted to point it out, outside of how beautiful it looks, is the guests. The guests that have either just like visited, you know, to, I don't know, have a drink or whatever in this hotel, or have actually stayed in this hotel is pretty wild. The most important of which is Albert Einstein. At first I was like, no, are you serious? Like, actually Albert Einstein came to this hotel? But I guess he did multiple times because his wife was Serbian. And I did not know that. So that is fascinating. So their main, I guess, presidential suite that they have is named the Albert Einstein Suite. So I found that to be a pretty fun fact. And, you know, more recent sort of celebrities that have stayed here are Brad Pitt, Mila Djokovic, is that how I say her last name? But you know, the one in, is it The Fifth Element or The Sixth Element? My brain is not working right now, but you know, really famous movie star, really beautiful. She has been here, lots of like musicians, politicians and stuff. So yeah, if you get a chance to come here, you know, it's definitely worth stopping in and taking a look. Like, definitely one of the most beautiful buildings here in Belgrade. So I thought I would kind of show that to you guys before we turn around and go back to, in my opinion, the most beautiful area, which is the pedestrian street of Knez Mihailova. So let's head on there. Thank you so much for the super chat, Videri. Hi, Alina. Belgrade food tip, Dva Jelena or Tri Sesira. Is that the name of restaurants, or are you telling me what to get? Because Dva is 2, right? And Tri Sesira. I assume it's a restaurant name, so I'm going to try and remember that. Thank you. These words are complicated. Great Pljeskavica there, and live music. What is the word starting with P? I don't know what that means. But thank you for the tip. Also great for video and vlog. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Videri. I greatly appreciate it. I'm actually going to screenshot that. Thank you so much. Fabulous. Perfect. Oh, it's a Balkan burger. How is, like, you mean just the patty, right? Because anytime I've seen like burgers sometimes like on the menus here, they don't bring a bun, right? Like, they just bring basically like, you know, ground meat sort of patty. So is it like that, or is there something else to it? Raindrops are falling on me. Thank you so much. Piano Mind asks how I find the languages. I had kind of talked about it in the beginning of the live stream, but yeah, just to give an update for anybody who wasn't there. I will say that, you know, there are certain similarities, but it's hard for me to, you know, say for sure with Bulgarian, because I don't speak, obviously, even remotely well in Bulgarian yet. Russian is the only one that I can, like, you know, comfortably compare it to. So let's say Serbian and Russian, there's definitely some similarities, but definitely not at all outright. And I would actually say that Bulgarian is easier for me to understand than Serbian is, you know, as a Russian speaker. As far as Bulgarian being similar to Serbian, like, I assume there is definitely a lot of similarities, as there are with many of the Balkan languages. But I think it's like Croatian and Bosnian and Serbian. I think those are the 3 that are very, very similar. Of course, there's still, like some differences, but I think those are the 3 that are very, very close. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Okay, Videri says big patty with some sort of butter and onions. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, maybe I haven't had exactly that yet in my Balkan travels, so I will look for that. Thank you so much. And yes, Draghi, you are correct. Many people speak and understand English in Belgrade, in the Balkans. Yeah, honestly, like anybody who can speak two languages, I give huge props to. Like, it is just so impressive, you know, especially on the level that I have found here. And it hasn't just even been in just the tourist areas. Like, I've even gone to some areas that, you know, I wouldn't think tourists really visit, and I go into, you know, some little cafe or some store, and like literally the person working there speaks perfect English. It's honestly like shocking. Very, very impressive, very well educated people here. Louise, thank you so much for the super chat. Hello, Alina. Is Russian culture strong in Serbia? Yes, it very, very much is. Like I was kind of saying before, how, you know, politically Serbia is, you know, quite aligned with Russia, and especially the older generation, you know, tends to favor Russia quite a bit more because, oh, I don't know if I should talk about this because I definitely don't have all the details. But, you know, for different reasons, but it's obviously still horrible that they did, NATO troops bombed Belgrade. Like, there is a building, basically like right downtown. There's actually guards kind of always surrounding it, that, yeah, they like left it as is after it was bombed by American and specifically Canadian troops. So yeah, that's pretty sad. And, you know, once again, there's many reasons of why all that happened, but then you can kind of understand that, you know, especially for the older generations that lived here, you know, they probably have a pretty negative view of, like, you know, the US, Canada too, I guess, and NATO, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's something that I learned while I was here in Belgrade. Just reading your comments here. Yes, Rick, you are correct. There's less of an incentive to learn another language if your native language is English. Yes, that is what tends to happen. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera here. We're gonna keep walking down Knez Mihailova. Look how lovely this street is, isn't it? I love pedestrian streets. Like, you guys know that I'm very much anti-car traffic, you know, for cities. I think there should be way more areas strictly for pedestrians and really good public transit, bike lanes. Like, that's more what I think cities should do with their infrastructure. So even though here in Serbia, I mean here in Belgrade, you know, outside of the city center, it's maybe not the most walkable city, but at least in their city center, like, it's pretty good. You can get around everywhere by foot, and the public transit is really good in my opinion. Yes, you are correct. Daring Northern Adventures, definitely no country is perfect, or at least I have not found it. Every place has its problems. Every place has done some shady stuff, because we're all human after all, and most humans are crazy, no matter which country they come from. That place is really good. Luff. It's like kind of a whipped gelato sort of thing, or ice cream. That's very, very good. They didn't actually have this earlier. Maybe this is just for the weekend. They have a little handicraft sort of market. Super cute. The architecture here is also so gorgeous, isn't it? A lot of different styles. Thank you very much for the super chat, Louise. It's amazing how a country considered poor in terms of Europe is still nice. I mean, yeah, I guess like the GDP in Serbia here, you know, obviously isn't high, and you know there are certainly, you know, problems with the cost of living here, and just politically, that's a whole other conversation. Like, there's obviously recently been a lot of protests, specifically by university-aged adults, you know, being against the government and stuff, and there's been some other tragic events that have happened, so they certainly have their problems here. But yeah, there's also just so many, you know, wonderful and beautiful things about Belgrade and the rest of Serbia, so it's absolutely a destination worth visiting. Biliana, thank you so much for the super chat, for the coffee in the Moscow hotel. Cheers. It's always good to have 2 passports on both sides of the ocean. Go for it. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. And I agree. Yeah, it's like, I don't know if there's such a thing as too many passports. Maybe some of them, it'd be too much to have, you know, like, I don't know, 10 or something like that, but having at least 2 or 3, yeah, especially if they're in kind of different parts of the world, like, that is ideal. And you can really build your flag theory that way. So we'll see, obviously, you know, what happens with Ukraine, you know, in the future. But, you know, who knows? For the time being, obviously, I love Bulgaria. I love living there. But I will never qualify for a passport, as far as I understand, in Bulgaria, under the, you know, kind of options they have available now. I think the only one that would be available to me, I'd have to renounce my Canadian, which obviously I wouldn't do that. But as I said before, I'm fine with just permanent residency if I was to live there long term. But you still, I think, have to renew it a certain extent. So you still have to do some paperwork even though you're a permanent resident. It's nice, at least with citizenship, that, you know, at least you don't have to worry about any of the immigration process, as far as I understand. So it would just be nice to have like another citizenship of like, this is another country that I can live in, no questions asked. So that is why a citizenship is very good to have. Thank you so much, Julius. That's very kind of you to say. All right, guys, I'm gonna flip the camera here. We are gonna keep on going. We gotta get to the fortress. I'm sure some of you have already been to Belgrade. You'll know that I was heading in the direction of the famous Belgrade Fortress, and we gotta get there within the next 15 minutes and tour around it for a bit, because I have an appointment at 7 p.m. that I have to get to. That's a little ways away from the fortress, so unfortunately it can't be an unlimited time live stream tonight. Thank you so much to Java for the super chat. I believe that's Indonesian currency. Thank you so much. I hope you try all the local dishes. They're great. Thank you so much. I will try my best. I feel like I have tried, you know, quite a bit, because most of them are just, you know, different kinds of like meat dishes. But what I would like is some of their like baked goods. I've seen some baked goods that I had never seen before, some savory and some sweet. So that's something that I definitely need to try more of. But thank you so much. And yes, BS, I am trying to collect passports, ones that make sense would be really, really great. Other than the US passport. That is the one. Well, I mean, there's plenty of passports that actually I wouldn't want, but the US passport, believe it or not, obviously I'd want it maybe if I didn't have a Canadian one. But yeah, I would never want to be a US citizen because they are one of 2 countries. I think the other one is like Eritrea that taxes you no matter what. They tax you no matter what. And there's no way to get out of it. So I definitely am not interested in becoming an American for that reason. Meaning that, you know, I'm sorry, any US guys that potentially wanted to go on a date with me, I don't know if it would ever work because I don't think I want to marry into the American dream at this point in time anyway. I feel really bad for people in the US for that. Like, they shouldn't be allowed to do that, to basically like make you file every year no matter where in the world you are, and like if you're over their threshold, like they'll take money from you. What is going on? I have no idea what's going on, but I'm not really a fan of their music. I have no idea what's going on. Interesting. All right. Thank you very much for all the marriage proposals in the comments. Thank you very much. Julius Caesar, you mean you don't want to join the asylum? We're always looking for fresh victims. I don't know. The U.S. seems to be like kicking hardworking immigrants out of their country, so I don't know. I think many people are afraid to try and start the U.S. immigration system at this point in time, sadly. All right, guys, so we are getting to the end here of this lovely street. As I said, definitely my favorite place here in Belgrade. So if you liked it too, I would recommend getting your accommodation near to here, because it's actually not just this street. Like, we don't have the time today, but there's all these like little side streets that go off, you know, from basically every block. So it's actually a fairly substantial area to explore. And they got a little bit of a mall right here. Coca-Cola's doing some kind of pop-up, it looks like. And here we are getting closer to the fortress. And yes, Rick, I would absolutely recommend visiting Belgrade. Definitely a lot to see here, but I would say, like, you know, if you're coming from, let's say, you know, Canada or the US, you're coming a long ways to come just to Belgrade. I'm not sure that would be worth it, but I would say, like, do a Balkans trip. Like, if you can take at least maybe 2 to 3 weeks and do, you know, a few countries in the Balkans, that would be an amazing trip. You know, if you did, let's say, like Croatia, Montenegro, here Serbia, like that could be a really cool trip. Or, you know, Bosnia Herzegovina, that would be really, really awesome. Louise, thank you so much for the super chat. Hello again. Did you see any reminiscence of the Ottoman Empire in Serbia? Yes, because they did have a foothold here for quite a while. I think technically, like where we're going now in the fortress, they had control of it at some point, but they were not the original kind of people who constructed it. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was in 1st century AD that the Romans started building out the fort, but then, you know, it changed hands so many times, and, you know, different civilizations added to it and stuff, but it was the Romans who were initially here. But yes, the Ottoman Empire did have control of it, at least for a while. So that is what you guys will see here in just a minute. Gonna flip the camera here. It kind of starts off as a really nice park area, and then we get into the fort. And since we're kind of at a higher up point here, you will also see a great view of the Danube River, that second longest river in Europe that I had mentioned before. You can get a really nice view from here, so we'll definitely show you guys that. Well, that's an interesting comment. KPP team says, it seems like there are no stray cats or dogs like there are in Sofia, for example. I don't know. From my experience, I mean, even in Sofia, I wouldn't say there's a lot. And here, I mean, I've seen a few. I've seen especially a lot of cats just like chilling. Maybe not a lot of dogs. But yeah, in general, I wouldn't say there's a lot of stray animals on the streets here at all. Oh, I hear Russian. Got some musicians here. Aw, thank you so much to Costas World of Music Memories. Will you be going to Portugal any day soon? Give your best to Mom and Dad, Harriet, Jim, and Yuki. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Sadly, I don't have Portugal, lined up anytime soon, but it is, a place that is definitely on my list that I've heard very good things about. There's also been a lot of people that have recommended I do the, Camino, the long walking pilgrimage that goes through Portugal and Spain. I think those are the only two countries, right? I think. But I was recommended the Portugal one. So maybe if I did it someday, I would do the Camino through there. So that would be really cool. But no, sadly don't know when I'll be going there, guys, but definitely on my list. Thank you so much. Here we go. Yeah, Vesco, who's also from Bulgaria, says, yeah, like there's not really any dogs in Sofia. Yeah, I really haven't seen that many stray animals in general in Sofia, I would say, which is probably good. Hoping that, any animals have a proper home where they're properly taken care of. And yes, Rick, I am going to Ireland for the conference in Donegal. I'm super excited. The only thing that I'm trying to figure out is how I'm going to get around from place to place. Like, I know there are some buses, but I don't know how frequent they are. So I'm considering potentially driving, but obviously that's so much more expensive and a bit worrying having to actually drive myself. But the good thing is that I don't have to have an international license for Ireland. They do accept my Canadian license as is, so that's a positive thing. We'll see if I end up driving in Ireland or not. And here we are right in front, the Danube River. Very beautiful. You can kind of also get an idea of, the skyline here where, where we are right now is kind of considered to be the old town, whereas further on in there, they have a lot of new developments, like both residential and commercial. A lot of skyscrapers going up. I'll give you more of a view of the river as we go here. Yes, the Camino de Santiago, that was the one I was referring to. But does it go through more countries than just Spain and Portugal is the part that I was unsure of. Those are the only two countries that I've heard of that have the Camino, or are there others? Yes, Charles, there are squirrels. Not that many, but there are squirrels. Yes, that is the one other thing that I did not mention that Ralph brings up. This is also very worrying. So in Ireland, they drive on the opposite side of the road, right? I'm worried about that. But, you know, I thought about it, and obviously I wouldn't be, well, I'd probably have to pick up the car in Dublin airport, so that would probably be the most stressful part, is just like getting in and out of Dublin. I obviously wouldn't be using a car really within Dublin, but everywhere else in Ireland, I think, doesn't have that much traffic, right? And like some of the places that I want to go to, it's nature areas. Like that's why I want to have a car, is that, you know, with public transit, it doesn't go to all of those places. So I think once I get the car out of Dublin, it wouldn't be too bad. But yes, I am very nervous of driving on the wrong side of the road, the opposite side of the road. And like everything's, yeah, the opposite. So I don't know. Has anybody done it actually? Anybody in the comments? Like if you come from North America and then you've driven countries where it's on the opposite side, like was it difficult or it was okay? Let me know. So bright, it's hard to see, guys. I'm just gonna flip the camera here. Actually we need to go, or do we? I'm trying to actually remember which way did I get. Actually, yeah, let's go down here. There's a few different ways to get to where I want to go. This one should be fine. Sorry, Rick, I'm not in that tax bracket where I can just hire a driver in Ireland. That would be crazy expensive. I cannot be doing that. Oh, a couple of people have commented it's not the Danube River, it's the Sava River. What? I was told that this is the Danube, because for sure it goes through Serbia. I was literally on it a few days ago, but what, in Belgrade it's not the Danube? I thought it was. Somebody literally told me it was. And now I'm confused. I guess if I check Google Maps, then I will see for sure. Or is it a mix of two rivers or something like that? Well, that I will have to change in my video now, damn it. Alright guys, one sec here. Boom Shakalaka says, coming from the US, I drove in Japan, which is on the left side of the road without any practice or training, and it only took about 5 minutes to get used to it. Well, that is fantastic to hear, but maybe you are just a very experienced driver. But I'm glad to hear that, yeah, it wasn't that difficult for you. Ah. Manamorphical says Danube is on the edge next to the city, I think. Okay. Yeah, well, maybe that was the issue, that they said, yeah, the Danube River goes through, you know, Belgrade, and I just assumed that that's through Belgrade, but maybe it's through another portion of the city. And okay, so locals said that that's the Sava River, so I apologize. I'm spreading misinformation here. Okay, yeah, Vesco says, yeah, the Sava and the Danube both pass through Belgrade. Okay, good to know. Ivilo asks, when will you come back to Veliko Tarnovo, the former capital of our great country? I will definitely come back at some point in time, but, you know, of course, since I was just there a few months back, probably not for a while. You know, next year I for sure want to try and do the seaside in Bulgaria. But yeah, and then there's still many, you know, mountain kind of hikes that I want to do. There's a lot that I want to see and do in Bulgaria, so I will get to it eventually. Oh, I missed a super chat from Rahul. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. I love the little emoji guy. That is so cute. Thank you. Hope you are doing good. Really appreciate you guys coming out. It's actually looking a little bit cloudier than I would like right now. I mean, it said it's not supposed to rain tonight, but you know, you can never really know with the weather sometimes. You know what, guys? I think I probably will finish things up in the next 5 to 10 minutes because I just looked at the time. And I gotta go all the way back there. So let me show you the fort, or at least some of the fort, and then we will end things off here. Oh really, Vesco says there was a storm today in Sofia. Well, I hope it's over by the time I get back. Actually, what was crazy, there was a huge storm here in Belgrade and also in Split, Croatia, like literally almost like tornado, not hurricane, but like definitely a tornado like storm with like really heavy rain and all that kind of stuff. Literally a few days before I got here, like Kaya and I were like in Montenegro watching it all unfold on TikTok. And I was like, that better be done by the time that I get here, because that will be absolutely crazy to try and film in. So yeah, it's been some weird weather here in the Balkans. Like overall really nice. Like luckily actually in both Montenegro and here, like the weather's been fantastic. Just, you know, pretty hot, I guess, be the only thing. Rick says, I have heard that Dubrovnik is really beautiful. Yeah, Croatia on a whole is definitely another country that I really want to visit, but I've heard that it's gotten exceptionally expensive in the last few years. Like, I don't know if that's just from tourism or what other reason, but apparently, like, especially in the summer, like, it's almost as expensive as, like, you know, south of France from what some people mentioned. I don't know for sure because I haven't been there, but a lot of people have said the prices in like the major cities in Croatia have spiked so much. Yeah, Vesco says it's very expensive and overcrowded now. That's sad to hear. I guess if you went in the off season or like the shoulder season, that would be most ideal. Because it's like, obviously I don't want to go there when it's bad weather, but I also don't want to go when it's like peak tourist season, right?
I think that's something.
All right, let me give you guys a little view here. So yeah, we're basically in the main part of the fortress right now. If you keep going further on down there, there's some beautiful buildings. There's also the military museum, the natural history museum. And yeah, there's a few little like cafes and restaurants in there. And if you want, another great thing to do is to take like, you know, a boat right here down the Sava River. And there's lots of, you know, beautiful green park areas in here as well. Like it really is just beautiful in the summer, right? Everything is just so lush and gorgeous. Very, very nice. So friends, I think we will end things off here. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and thank you so much for joining me here in Belgrade. I greatly loved our time together, because I probably won't be doing a live stream for quite a while now, like unless, I don't know, something comes up or changes, or there's something really exciting that I want to show you in Sofia while I'm there for the next month. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do one until I go somewhere. Maybe I'll go to Greece for just a few days with my mom, kind of middle to end of August if she comes out to see me. Maybe I'd do one from there, but otherwise it would be in Dublin. It's going to be in Dublin, Ireland for sure when I will see you guys next. So obviously I'll still have all my YouTube videos coming up every week as usual, but just there's probably not going to be any live streams for a while. Thank you so much to Rahul. Thank you so much for the super chat. That's so sweet of you. Oh, you guys are so kind. I greatly appreciate you. It really means a lot that you all come out, and yeah, just having this community, having this job, as crazy as it is sometimes, I'm extremely grateful. So thank you all so much for your support. I hope you will all visit Belgrade at some point in time. It is a lovely, lovely city. And stay tuned for the video. Like next week will still be a video from Bulgaria that I filmed, but after that we're going to get into Montenegro and Serbia content. So I hope you guys will like the main videos that I did from here. So as always, I am sending you so much love. Keep being your own kind of beautiful.